cultivation supplies from my favorite company, Spore. So for the most part, the cultivation that I do at home is I buy pre-colonized substrate blocks like this, and I just let the mushrooms grow. And when you're first getting started, this is absolutely the easiest way to do cultivation, is just buy kits, because all the work has been done for you, and essentially you are just letting it fruit out. And these reishi kits have been growing for several months now, and they've been super successful. I think I'm going to do a video at some point showing how I'm going to turn these reishi into a medicinal powder, but there's a fair amount of processing that goes into that. So I've been letting these grow, trying to get all those sesquiterpenes and polysaccharides and other good stuff going on in these mushrooms, and I'll process them later, but I like to actually eat mushrooms, and these are medicinal, so I'll do something with them at some point, but for right now, I'm concerned about growing mushrooms that I can eat, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. They really want to eat mushrooms, and buying mushrooms can be pretty expensive, and so it's really cool to get into the cultivation side, because you start to get more bang for your buck when you start doing some of the work yourself. So the things I ordered from Spore this time were like a new greenhouse tent with a slightly better humidity controller, and that'll help me continue to fruit out mushrooms from kits, but will also help me when I go to start colonizing my own kits that I'm putting together, as well as growing mushrooms from my own kits instead of buying them pre-colonized. And I've also got a still Airbox, I believe, that I ordered that will really up my ability to work in an aseptic environment where there's not lots of spores and other molds and bacteria and stuff kind of raining down. It's a little self-contained box that, as long as you follow the protocol and you have good sterile technique using alcohol and gloves and stuff like that, you can have a little zone that is free of other contaminants that allows you to do a lot more inoculation of your own liquid culture and grain cultures, which will massively expand my ability to cultivate different kinds of mushrooms. So we're going to go ahead and open up this nice big box of wonderful cultivation supplies that I got from Spore. So I'll put these to the side, but check these out. They're really neat, giant, big blocks of reishi. So I'm excited about these. This is super cool. But let's look down at this this big old box I got from Spore. So I'm going to use my little open L knife. This one is actually branded Fascinated by Fungi. But if you like these knives, and you've seen them in my videos, they're wonderful because there's kind of a curved blade. So when you're cutting mushrooms, you can kind of get around the mushroom by like cutting it from the side. You're less likely to poke yourself because it's not a sharp tip. So it's very easy to kind of cut towards yourself and not cut yourself because it doesn't have that sharp tip. It is sharp, don't get me wrong. This is a nice sharp blade, but it stays sharp without having to sharpen it a lot. I use it pretty much just for cutting mushrooms, and I really like the little built-in brush. So overall, this is a lightweight, and that's one of my favorite things about it, because I have some other knives, and they're just really heavy. They kind of weigh down your pocket. This one's wood, so it's light. It can get wet. It can go through all sorts of conditions and be totally fine. I found these knives like out in the woods that other people lost and just added them to my collection. But if you want to get this, you can get them on the Spore website. You can always use my discount code Fascinated by Fungi if you want to save 10% on your orders from Spore. So let's go ahead, cut open this box, and see what's inside. Because I don't actually remember everything I ordered. It's always sort of a fun thing when you like put an order in at night and then you don't totally remember exactly what you got. And so it's a little bit like, a Christmas present to yourself when you open up one of these boxes and are like, oh man, that's cool. Just because I have a bad memory. So let's take a look. Spore hooks it up with good stuff. They're always sending nice little like informational packets too, which I really appreciate. So here's my little info packet from Spore. This is on top. Let's see what's in here. We have our Shroom Tech little manual guide here on how to use their new product called Shroom Tech, which is a inject and grow type of kit. I think it's a new sort of substrate block, so we'll check that out. I've got a whole thing on mushroom cultivation in beds and using grain spawn and sawdust. So this is relevant to some of the, I think I got some BLITS spawn, so this is relevant guide for that. And I love that depending on the products you order, they put in these little manuals so you have the guide. You can also find all the stuff online, but nothing beats having like a little guide to go look at and figure out what you're doing. Cool little Spore card. I've got this same design on a t-shirt. If you like it, you can find it on their website. But this has a bunch of other quick sort of start information about what you're doing and where to find important things. And of course, I've got my my little like order thing here. It tells me all the stuff, so I can make sure I've got everything that I ordered. But I'll pop this back in my little Spore thing, and we'll open up this box and see what's inside. Okay, so excuse the noise of the paper. Pull this off. I'll clean that up later. Okay, so I'm seeing exciting stuff right off the bat. What do we got here? This is an alcohol prep pad. So there's 100 of these little isopropyl pads for wiping stuff down. So I have some isopropyl alcohol that will spray, but if you are lacking that, you do get these little things you can wipe stuff down. That's really important because microbes are everywhere, all around us, all the time. And unless you use some alcohol, those microbes are going to be contaminants in your mushroom spawn. So that is good to have that. Here's my, what is this? The Knockbox, I believe this is. So this is the still Airbox I was talking about, and it's cool because it comes contained in this little box, or this little bag, I guess. It's not really a box as much as it's sort of like a little tent that you erect. So I'm going to pop this open. I may not like erect the whole thing because I don't have so much room on my table, and I'm trying to show you guys everything that I ordered, but I do want to take a look at this because this is one of the new things they just added, and I'm super excited because I've been meaning to put together a still Airbox for quite a while. You can do it by just taking a Tupperware, cutting some holes in it, and you put in some sort of like arm things. It's not that hard to make your own still Airbox at home, but it's cool that Spore's done the work for you because it's not that expensive, and it's already kind of got all the components you're going to need, and they give you a guide on how to use it, which I think is really neat because instead of just trying to like figure out what you're doing from an online forum, you have support from Spore who's actively going to tell you how to use their product and how to maximize it so you get the best results. So I'm going to turn my camera ever so slightly. I like seeing the lobster logo there. All right, so let's see what's in this bag. So this is kind of like a tent frame thing. So this is, I assume, what you set up, your little sort of, I think it's a box about like this. So it's sort of yay high and yay wide, and you use these little tent frames as the tent part of it. I think, right? Yeah, okay, here we go. Here's our diagram. This is perfect. So here's the Knockbox, and here's their little like handout on it. So let's see, Knockbox turns any surface into a clean space in your home or in the field. Used for culture work, used for cloning mushrooms and preparing agar plates, preparing spore syringes and inoculating grain spawn, and preparing a monotub. And this is great because actually earlier this year, or last year I guess, I had them send me some stuff for a monotub, and I was really excited to make a video about it, except I sort of put it together here where I'm standing, and it got contaminated. And I knew it probably would because I wasn't really using good sterile technique while I was doing it. I was like trying to film and trying to do some other stuff at the same time, and it got contaminated. I mean, my mycelium grew, but I saw there was some other stuff in there, and it wasn't great. So now that I have the Knockbox, I can do a much better job of inoculating things to get a better result. So let's see, just kind of everything here is packaged, and that's really cool. So here's basically the box part of this, and this is what you add the frames to make into this nice little container here with sort of the handholds. And so this is really going to up my cultivation game because I'll finally have the ability to work in a sterile, aseptic environment. And I'm used to that from being in the lab throughout graduate school, but I haven't had that since I've been here at home because I don't have a laminar flow hood or access to many of the things I would need in a lab to create an aseptic environment. And the Knockbox is going to give me that power back. So I'm going to be able to do microbial work at home. So super stoked on that. So I'm going to stick all this stuff back in the bag. My still Airbox is very exciting, so I'm pumped on that. But let's see what else we got in here. All right, here's a little brown box. What's in this brown box? This is a little alcohol burner. So this is one of the things I can put inside the still Airbox to sterilize my tools, not tubes, anyhow. You just light it on fire and, like, you know, if you have a scalpel or a little thing you're using, you burn it, and then you can transfer between plates without, you know, cross-contaminating anything. So that's good. I love the little sterilization things. That is wonderful. What else we got? Let's start opening stuff here and see what's going on. Here's my knife. So not only is this knife handy in the field, it's handy at home. Ooh, I have a feeling these are going to be Spore syringes. That's my guess, since they're kind of long. I'm going to need to put these. Yep. I'm going to store these in the fridge till I'm ready to use them. What do we get? We got elm oyster. So that's a nice big meaty mushroom, kind of like a king trumpet. And some piapini, or piapino. So these are beautiful velvet shank mushrooms. These are 2 liquid cultures that I will inoculate into grain spawn and then grow that up. I could also use these to inoculate liquid spawn. You have a lot of different choice points when you're doing cultivation yourself, and all you need is some nice clean spores and genetic material, and then some substrate and a clean space to work. So I have access to a lot of these things now because of what I've gotten from Spore that I didn't have before. So that's pretty neat. People always assume I do more cultivation than I do, but it's because I haven't really had access to the tools, and I've been a little lackadaisical about, you know, building my own stuff. So it is really cool to now have these things available in a commercial setting, where instead of having to, like, biohack everything myself, I can just buy them from a company that will then offer me support on these items as well. So stoked on that. What do we got here? They did a really good job packing all this stuff. Wait. Oh, I got mushroom immunity blend. So I put this in my coffee in the morning. I don't really put a lot of stock in supplements especially, but I am very fond of this immunity blend, and I feel like when I take it regularly, I get over colds a little bit faster, so I got some more of this. I usually take the powdered pills, but this is a really easy one to add into your coffee in the morning, or tea, or whatever you want. And I think that's a lot better. There's a lot of those, like, kind of mushroom coffee and tea products out there, and honestly they're all overpriced, and you're just paying a ton of money for coffee that may not be that fresh. Also, you don't know, like, what mushrooms they put in there, and with this I know that Spore creates all of their supplements with fruiting bodies, which I think there's more bang for your buck. Like, I've done the data, I've run the numbers, and seen that there's a lot more, like, active components in things made with fruiting bodies than if it's made with mycelium. It's not that there isn't active stuff in mycelium, it's just that there's more of it, you know, weight per volume in supplements made with fruiting bodies. So I think here's another thing of tincture. Very well packed, like I said. All right, there we go. All right, another thing of immunity blend. That's great. I'm not getting sick this year. All right, what else we got? Now we're down to the meat of it. Cool, so here is the Shroom Tech Eject, Inject, and Grow. So this is like a sterilized substrate kind of thing. So here's a port where I can take one of my syringes and inoculate this inside of my still Airbox, and then I'm going to let it myceliate in my new grow tent, and then let it fruit out in the new grow tent. So here's the flow: spores to substrate to colonization to fruiting. And that's pretty awesome. So what else we got? We got another thing of substrate. So I got 2 bags of substrate. That's wonderful. Put those down, and I have new liquid culture kit. So that's really cool. I can do this liquid culture stuff in my still Airbox. So that's wonderful. No, they sent me some gloves. I have black gloves. That's wonderful. I like that. Working with gloves. You don't need gloves, but it's a lot easier to sterilize and keep gloves clean than it is like all of the little textures on your hand. Let's see, what's this guy? Ooh, Microbiology Tool Kit. That's neat. Let's see what's in this. So it's a handy dandy little thing. So this has Spore Microbiology Lab Tool Set. So again, nice little documentation. Stainless steel blade scissors, tweezers, a scalpel, inoculation loop, another scalpel, stainless grooved things. I got all these little doodads in here, and these are what I'll use with my flame burner as I'm moving mycelium and tissue around inside of my still airbox. So that's a really nice thing to have all those tools. Again, this is another one of the things I've been missing to do real microbiology, so that's very exciting. And then I have 2 big bags of BLITS spawn. So BLITS are sometimes called bluefoot mushrooms. They're Clitospis nuda is the species, but there's been a whole hubbub recently where someone ran some DNA and they figured out that it's actually closer related to Colibia instead of Clitospis, and that's a whole rat's nest I'm not getting into. But this is a mushroom that you can grow in your yard by just inoculating, you know, leaves and twigs and sticks. And I'm going to try to build up a nice like bed for this BLITS spawn with a bunch of compost and rich organic matter, and hope that I can get these to grow in my yard. These are pretty delicious edible mushrooms. They smell like frozen orange juice concentrate, or basically think of like cafeteria orange juice. It's kind of how they smell and taste, but they go really well in like a grilled cheese or a cream sauce is the way I like to do them. So I've got 2 big things of BLITS spawn here, and then I think in a separate boxes they're going to send me the new Martha tent, the kind of the North Spore boom room, which has a new humidity regulator and stuff like that. So I'm going to have a lot of new tools for cultivation at home. Super exciting, and I'm very grateful to North Spore for providing services like this, because this is the kind of stuff that, you know, can get really expensive if you start trying to source it from, you know, lab sources, and you never quite know really what you need to do this stuff. So it's really great to have a company that is like compiling all of the different components for you, and also, you know, again, providing the education and the documentation that you need to do this kind of stuff. So like everything comes along with, here, look, here's an instruction manual on how to use my, you know, liquid culture. So here's like sterilized substrate in a sealed container, and all I have to do is like use this little injection port to inoculate spores, and then I'll have a whole bunch of liquid culture, which I can then use to inoculate more grain spawn. So once you start doing the cultivation at home, you can just so quickly grow so many more mushrooms and get so much more bang for your buck than you would if you're just buying colonized kits. And again, if you want to just start, colonized kits are easy and wonderful, and they work great. But if you want to really maximize your output and you're getting deeper into this, getting all these cultivation supplies is really going to help you up your game. So thanks again to North Spore. If you guys want to order anything yourself, you can use my code FascinatingByFungi in all caps as a discount code. I've also got a link in my mushroom discount page on my website, fascinatingbyfungi.com, where you can find all that info as well. So thank you for joining me. Thanks again to North Spore for all this awesome cultivation stuff, and I'm going to go recycle all this packing material. So cheers, be well, bye fungi friends, adios.